Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this webinar on market research. We'll cover the topic Leverage the Power of Crowd. This is the first webinar which we are hosting on marketing, and I hope this webinar would be of relevance to you. I would like to briefly talk about myself. I have worked with companies like Infosys, Tata, Mindfire Solutions, Signity Technologies, Gallup Solutions, and many more brands. I am the co-founder of Hyderabad Marketing Meetup, and there is a content writer connection in LinkedIn. I'm the business advisor to a couple of startups and enterprises, and I advise them on their go-to-market strategy and their marketing strategy. I currently am pursuing my PhD from IIM Indore. I am an alum of SPJ in Singapore, and I have graduated or did my engineering from NIT Rourkela. So let's speak about a little bit about what is the agenda for the day. What's the agenda for this webinar? We'll talk about the power of crowd. We would understand what market research is all about. Why is it important? And we would definitely touch upon what happens if we are not doing enough market research. And finally, we'll go on to how do we do market research? What are the steps which are involved? How do we do the best market research possible so that we can gain more insights? And we'll also touch upon how is market research getting evolved and how is the future of marketing research or market research looking like. We would understand how do we connect the dots, generate insights, and then of course we will take on questions. Now, good that we talked about questions. So on the right-hand side of the panel, which you see on your screen, you can type in questions there. Once you type in questions there, it will pop up at my end. I will take a look at those questions and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. For questions which I could not answer for some reason, I would definitely be able to send you a response by email if you leave your email address there. All right, so let's talk about crowd. What are they doing? So the crowd is creating information, lots and lots of them. I was finding, while trying to create the presentation for this webinar, I was going through a couple of Forbes articles where I started seeing articles by Bernard Marr. He's one of the analysts who does write a lot about digital innovation and how much of data we are creating using digital. So here are some of the mind-boggling facts that I thought every one of us should definitely know. Every second, we are creating new data. As much as there are 40,000 search queries every second on Google alone, which makes it 3.5 million searches per day and 1.2 trillion searches per year. Now, that's a huge number. That's a definite huge number. And Facebook users, on an average, they are sending about plus 31 million messages every minute. And there is 2.77 million videos which are being uploaded every minute. Every minute, up to 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube alone. So think about it. How much is the data which we are creating all around us? And that's not it. Going forward, within the next 5 years, there will be over 50 billion smart connected devices in the world. And all of it will be used to collect, analyze, and share more data. So we already are on a huge pile of data, and we will be creating even more of that. Now, at the moment, this is the shocking fact. At the moment, less than 0.5% of all the data which we have created is ever analyzed and used. Just imagine the potential here, right? All right, let's go on to what is the use of all this information, right? If I have a beautiful graphic which one of our designers did. So there is this young professional who is getting sync in the flood of information. There are loads of information available and he's getting sunk there. So what exactly is this data and how do we use all of this information, right? So much of data is being created. Now, if we take standalone information or from any particular source, for example, or YouTube views. What do I do if there are a million YouTube views? It's of no use if I do not understand the context, because and if I do not understand how it all relates to my business, and finally how it boils down to revenue or provides me insights to do better in my business, right? So standalone information, as we see, or data, is meaningless. Insights which are derived from them are actually worth their weight in gold, right? So whatever you are searching for is definitely there. You just have to find it. There is a massive amount of noise, data noise as we call it. So we have to cut the clutter, and then we have to arrive at what we are looking for. Now, what is market research? So market research is fundamental for decision making on products, on markets, and when you are trying to enter into new geographies. So the digital era provides marketing professionals with never-ending amount of data. And most importantly, it also helps you in ensuring that the data which you are gathering, you are able to make meaningful sense out of the data. Now, where exactly is market research helpful? So we are talking about product launches. We are talking about new service launches. We are talking about if we are planning for a new office location, which city is to be in. Now, if there is a city which has an airport or does not have an airport. Now, does my clients need airport in my city? So do I have a lot of international customers? So I need an international airport. So my office has to be located in close proximity of that international airport. There are multiple things, a lot of things. And then how do we get people? So for example, you are working on a very niche area which needs skill set within people, and that for some reason is in one particular cluster, in one particular geographic location. Now, if you are located miles and miles away from that location, it was going to be very difficult to get all those people of that skill set into your office. So definitely all of this, this information can definitely be used in all of this. New market entry, competitor intelligence, account penetration. So you already are working with an account, and then you want to expand more, you want to upsell more, or you want to cross-sell more. How do you do that? How do you know a lot of information that you will be able to sell more? You'll be able to convince the customer to buy more, right? So let's understand a little bit of what exactly is market research, right? So before that, let's take a look at this quick graphic. So again, there is someone who is like drowning, and then he is. This is like a sign of despair. So what does this image say? This image is symbolic of things that it is going to fail, right? So why is it that products fail, right? 70% of the time, it is about market research. This is why, right? Let us take a look at 7 reasons why new product launches or new products, basically, they fail. This is written by Pavel Grabowski, and he is the copywriter of Smashing Copy. It's an online magazine. It advises startups, entrepreneurs, and it has a great community out there. So if you are on the Google after this webinar, you can definitely look out for Smashing Copy, and you can take a look at the articles which Pavel has written. So these are the 7 reasons: failure to understand the customer needs and wants, and then fixing a non-existent problem. Say, suppose you assume that there is a problem and you build a solution for that. And what happens when your product reaches the market? The problem was never there. So you're actually not solving any problem. I can give you an example in a subsequent slides how we can do market research to stop getting into wrong areas and to at least identify or discover problems which are really existing and not non-existent. So, and then the third thing is if you're targeting the wrong market, right? And then if you have an incorrect pricing, if you have a weak team and weak internal capabilities, or if you are doing a prolonged development or a delayed market entry. Now, if your market entry is getting delayed because of whatever things, because of operational inexcellence or incompetency, or because of multiple reasons, because of budget, because of vision, right? So in all of these cases, and then the last thing is poor execution. Now let's take a look at all of these things and try to understand which ones are catering to market research. The points 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 are about market research. Number 5, which is a weak team and internal capabilities, and then poor execution. Now, those are the two which are related to operational efficiency and all of that. But rest all of them talks about the importance of market research. If you do not do market research well, or it's not adequate, it's not effective, then there are definite chances that you might be heading in the wrong direction. Okay, inadequate market research. I know you totally get it, right? Let's take a look at these examples. So what is the first one? The first one is a vanilla Coke, right? This product was launched in India a couple of years back. We had, I think it was Vivek Oberoi who was the brand ambassador for this product. It never flied. So the product was outright rejected by the Indian market, right? And there can be multiple reasons, but let's take a look at all of the examples, and then I can tell you what exactly went wrong in all of them. Then we have the Pepsi Blue. I think this was started sometime when we had the World Cups going on, and Pepsi was the official sponsor at that time, and he wanted to do a product or create a product which is synonymous with the brand blue. So that's why this is the jersey color of India, by the way. So this didn't work. Why did it not work? There can be multiple reasons. One, people might not have liked the flavor of vanilla in a Coke because they were looking for a caffeinated or a carbonated drink, and the same with Pepsi, right? And maybe they didn't like the color. For all you know, in India, kerosene, that's a fuel which is used in rural India for their household cooking purposes. Now, the color, incidentally, is very Pepsi bluish. Now, when you do things like this, it is very difficult to change mindsets, and I'm not sure how the market research would have been done. But of course, if the adequate market research would have been done, it would definitely have saved a lot of marketing dollars, a lot of manufacturing dollars, a lot of logistics and distribution dollars. So a lot of that. Now let's take the example of Maxwell House brewed coffee. What exactly is it? So this company is based in the United States. They came up with this brewed coffee and they packaged it, and they thought that it's ready to drink, right? So all you had to do was to put it in a cup, put it in the microwave, heat it, and then you're done. You can have your coffee. So it's much better than the coffee which you're drinking from the machines and all of that, right? But now this product didn't work out so well. You know why? This product assumed that there is a problem, that people have to stand at the machine to get the coffee, and then they have to mix the milk and the sugar and all of that. So they thought that if we could come out with coffee which is ready to drink, then it will definitely have a lot of hits, have a lot of customers, right? It didn't. It actually didn't. So what exactly happened? This packaging itself, you couldn't put the packaging just like that within the microwave. So you had to actually pour it into a cup. You have to put the cup inside the microwave, take the cup out by the time the cup is also hot, and then you use it, right? It was as good as going to a machine, waiting the time which it took, the convenience. It was almost the same as the machine coffee, right? This product bombed, didn't work. So this is an example of a product for which there was no problem. So the company went ahead thinking that there is a problem, but there was exactly no problem, right? Now, Coca-Cola launched new Coke, and it lost millions because of this market research mistake. What exactly did they do? What they did was they did surveys. They definitely did surveys, and the people liked it. Whosoever they were talking to, they actually liked the product. And so what Coke did, they stopped their previous versions. They started this Coke and they distributed it. The results were disastrous. New Coke, people started complaining. It is sweeter, more watery, and they just refused to buy. So what exactly happened? Then Coke actually had to relaunch its old Coke as well as new Coke. And then subsequently, new Coke died down. What exactly happened? So the kind of questions which were being asked, that mattered a lot. What happened was, when Coke started doing the market research exercise, they didn't ask the people whether you would be okay if we take the old Coke away while giving you the new Coke. They had just asked about new Coke as a different product, and they had assumed that they would be taking away the product without asking the customer. And the customer assumed that the old Coke will definitely be there, and this is a new variant. It didn't work. Didn't work either for the customers or for the business. So that's how it is. And B2B service companies too suffer a lot when they do inadequate market research. If you are working on Microsoft products, you want to find the geography in the world where you can give your services in Microsoft products, for example, SharePoint or Dynamic CRM or retail POS, a lot of it, right? When you're doing all of that, how exactly do you find out that which part of the world will have the market for you? If you do an incorrect research, it would mean a lot of planning going waste, a lot of revenues or a lot of your savings going waste, and definitely that would mean waste of time. That means competition gets a head start on you, right? And many startups shut down because they feel that market research can come once the product is market ready, right? Whereas that is a gross mistake in most of the cases. So what do you do next, right? How do you learn from the mistakes of other entrepreneurs? So I was reading this article by Lukas Carlson. He is the CIO at CenturyLink, and he had mentioned all of this when he said that stop drinking your own Kool-Aid. Forget that if you build it, they will come. They will not come if you just build it. You have to ask, then you have to build, and then they will come. You have to stop believing that your product is your company, because your product is not your company. It's just one of the products, right? It's good that you are putting in a lot of passion into building the products, but you have to distance yourself from the product, because a product might fail, but your company can always create another one, right? So you have to detach yourself from the product, even if it is your own idea. So you have to understand that market research has to be definitely done when you're creating a product. Stop falling in love with your idea before there is a product market fit. If there is a product market misfit and you still are in love with your product, believe me, there will be a lot of heartburns, because you will feel that a little more investment into the same product can actually make it better, whereas it might not be actually in line with the expectations from the users, from the market. So that is when you need to do an effective market research. Let us take this simple example. If you can imagine, I did this session in one of the meetups which I hosted in Hyderabad. We had about a lot of people who had joined in. And so that is where it was very informative. Now it's a webinar, it's a monologue. But assuming that you are selling ice cream, okay? Let me put a blindfold on your head, right, on your eyes. Now, in that case, if I want you to increase the revenues or to show me some good results, what exactly do? You can't see ahead. So definitely what you would want logically, I'm thinking for you here. So I would go to a place where there is a lot of noise, or there's noise indicates that there are people around. So even if there is a blindfold, I'll go to a place where I hear a lot of noise, right? Now, slowly, after some time, you realize that the noise is because you're standing near a hospital, right? You're standing near a diabetic hospital. So nobody would buy from you. Even if there is so many people going around you, nobody would buy from you, unless, of course, that you're selling diabetic ice creams, right? So, and then you talk about, you'd go to a place, say suppose you go to a place where there is a school, right? And then you stand there and you start selling ice creams. Now, nobody's buying from you. There can be multiple reasons why. One, it might not be the break time for kids. This might not be the right time. Classes might be going on, right? You have to wait. How long? You don't know, because you have not done the research, right? The second thing, what is your pricing? If your ice creams are priced at rupees 100 in India, which is almost equivalent to $1.5 dollars. If you have an ice cream price that high, not many of the students would actually buy in front of the school, right? Your pricing has to be good. How do you find all of that? Market research. Market research helps you to remove the blindfold, find where your customers are, zero down on the markets, zero down on the packaging, zero down on the pricing, and definitely helps you do a lot more meaningful business. So now that we know all of that, let's take a look at the steps to do market research. What are the steps? Is involved when I'm thinking of creating or doing market research, right? One, monitor with indexing alerts. Listen by spending time, filter, and use. I'll give you this example of indexing alerts. What are these alerts? These alerts are nothing but Google alerts, right? So if you are in a business, if you are a software developer and you are working in Java, right? So how do you know what are the things which are going on new in your industry? What are the things which people are doing all over the world? Set up an alert. In Google, if you go on to alerts.google.com, you can set your own alert for any keyword you want, right? If you can put it on Java, then you will get to know when new Java versions, or I'm not sure, some of the APIs or some of the projects which are being powered in Java, a lot of those are released. If you are a designer, then you can definitely know, and you set an alert on design events, then you can know when are the events happening so that you can apply for them. If you are a startup and you would like to have investors, right? So you set up an alert, which is a local alert in Google, and which gives you ideas about new investors and their activities in the area, right? And then you listen by spending time. You have to look through all of the results which keep coming in day by day. You can set up multiple alerts as much as you can, but you have to understand that you have to take one step at a time. You shouldn't be overwhelmed by all of the information. If you set up thousands of alerts, it is not going to be of much help. Set up some 3 to 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 alerts which you can handle, which you can spend time, analyze, and then use the information after filtering irrelevant information. Some of the times you will also get results which may or may not be very relevant for you. So you filter them out, then use it. That's the number one step. The second step, search for credible sources of information. What exactly does that mean? Let me give you an example, right? So if I ask you, what is, you're in Hyderabad. I'm right now in Hyderabad. So let me tell you, if you are new to Hyderabad and you do not know the local language, so what you do, if you want to, I'm not asking about Google Maps, right? So this is just an example, right? So if you want to go to Gachibowli and you are standing in Begumpet, right? So who would you ask the road? You would not ask someone, you would not ask anyone who you meet, right? So mentally, you do an analysis and think that, okay, this person might be credible, this person might not be. And then you think, okay, the guy looks okay, and I think he is heading in that direction. I think he is speaking on a phone, so I think he understands. He has connections multiple places. So I'm just saying that you use a lot of information around you to find out who the person is and build credibility for him in your mind. Once you do that, that's when you go and approach them. And so in the same way, you have to look for credible sources of information, both online as well as offline, right? And so that's the number 2 point. There are a lot of online sources which will give you credible information on market research data. There are a lot of providers who are providing this information. And so you can look at global analyst firms for Google, and you can also look at Google Trends. So a lot of this information you can find out once you figure out the credible sources of information, right? Then you devise your own scales or adopt existing scales and measuring instruments. So what exactly are these, right? So if you are not able to find any of the information sources which are credible, that's when you devise your own scales. You create your own questionnaires and you send them out to the relevant people. Now, how do you know if you are asking the same question, the correct questions for whatever you are expecting to get in an answer, right? So I'll give you an example. For example, if you want to understand if students are happy on Monday, right? And then just this is the topic. You want to find out if students are happy on Monday, and you want to create a product which will help students be more engaged in the classes and things like that, right? Now, if you are aware where exactly you will get this information from, you can definitely go on, speak to the students, speak to the colleges. I'm sorry. So you speak to the colleges and all of that. And then if they already have this information, they can provide that to you. Now, if you do not have that information, if you just go there to the class with permission from the teachers and ask students, so are you happy on Monday? What do you think the response is going to be? The response is going to be a resounding yes, of course, because you are asking them in class. So it depends on the context. It depends on the situation in which you are asking the question and if you are asking the right question. Now, if you could ask the same question in a different manner, you may ask, right? Which of the days of the week you feel you're happiest in school or in classes, right? They would definitely give you a day. And then you keep asking more till you arrive at the 5th day. And then you know from all of those people which day is one which they hate the most or where they are least engaged, right? So a lot of this is to devise your own scales or adopt existing scales, look at existing research, what people have already done and what are the parameters which they had used, right? And then look for external validity and not just in the labs. You shouldn't invite 10 people who you know that it is a convenient sample. So you should not always go in for a convenient sample until and unless the problem is really niche and is found only in that school, that the problem of this lack of interest is happening only in that school and no other school. That's when you can take a convenient sample. In all other cases, you have to take the sample in such a way that it truly represents the entire target segment which you are trying to sell to, right? And then the next thing is to build a buyer persona. What is a buyer persona? A buyer persona is nothing but understanding of the whole or the all-round person, right? So if you are targeting, for example, if it's a B2B, right? You are looking at a decision maker in the company, and you are, say, suppose selling training courses for middle management, or for people who are 4 to 5 years in the company, all of that. You're doing a lot of training courses, right? Now, how do you exactly, how do you help a decision maker select you? Why should he actually select you and not someone else? So market research is what helps you in reaching there. First of all, you can definitely find out all the decision makers who are available in the company, right? Who you think can have the decision making authority, right? And then what you do is you find out who are the people who have similar skill sets or who have similar or related backgrounds to what you're trying to do. And then you find out where exactly what are they doing online, what are the articles they are posting, and a lot of other things, right? When you do all of this information and then you map the dots together, that's when you build a buyer persona. So your buyer persona will look something like this: 35 years, male, married, with kids studying in so and so school, which is an English medium, and or which is a vernacular medium, and then he is handling the portfolio for security, for HR, for something and something. So now, when you have all of this information, then you try to understand what will appeal to the person, and then you create your products accordingly, right? When you do thing, or you make, if you already have an existing product, you take in inputs and make customizations to the product and give them a personalized demo. When you do a personalized demo, they will definitely see the value of what you're offering, right? And then identify the pain points of the decision makers and then map your solution. When you do all of this, that is when you remove your blindfold and then you are able to sell your ice creams really more, right? So market research, that's all about market research. Market research is constantly innovating, it's changing. So let's throw out the percentages. I'll definitely, this video will be with you, so you can have a look at the slides whenever you want to. There was article on HBR, on a business review series, and where it definitely put focus, a lot of focus on market research, and said that it is constantly innovating. And by nature, consumer analysis should be accurate and objective when it comes to analyzing, classifying, and assessing consumer behavior through data, right? And then if you look at the third point, it says in marketing, understanding the intended audience is as important as creating love for a brand's product and services. Rather than in conventional classifications, we were looking at gender, age, demographics, and all of that, loyal users. The future of marketing will actually lie in analyzing that, if you can gain actual insights into the consumer behaviors, because the demographics might be exactly same, right? If they are 30 to 35 years of age, they are from India, they are working in a software company, and their salaries are the same, everything is same, but the actual consumer behavior can be totally different. And it can be based on the time of the day, it can be based on because of a circumstance which the person is going through. So a lot of this information. Now, if you are creating a product which is for shifting jobs, right? For changing jobs, like some portal, there are many portals which are out there now, and you have launched it during a recession. What happens? There is no entries, nobody is applying, nobody is hiring, so the product has no demand, right? So market research shouldn't constrain itself to just demographics. It should also be looking at the actual consumer behaviors, the contextual situations, and a lot of things like that. Okay, so search, connect the dots, build insights. Data always narrates a story. Now, the stronger the relationship between what you need to know for your business and what you are obtaining from market research, the stronger will be the narration of the story. The stronger is the narration of the story, the better will be the action from what you discover. And you definitely know if market research is done right or wrong based on whether your data gets connected, or you can connect the dots, or the data does not do anything at all, right? So I would like to take questions at this moment. And some of the questions, let me just take a look at the panel, which I have, and see if we have any questions. And you can definitely type in your questions on the screen. If you have anything, I would be waiting for that. All right, seems like I have a very quiet audience. I have not seen any questions through. I hope this webinar was helpful to you. And I'm sure when we are meeting for the next time, I would definitely want to know from you. If you can drop me an email about what is that one thing which you took away from this webinar? What is that one thing which you learned from this webinar?